Okay, I'm just gonna walk myself, my future self, through this trade that I took today, um, and why I broke even on it already. So the first thing I want to get into is just looking at NQ. There's not much really to show on the daily. Um, I have this low marked out as a prominent low for us to take eventually. We only filled the new week opening gap here. We didn't never tapped into the daily fair value gap that was left. Whether or not you want to consider those two the same thing, it's up to you. I don't. As far as the 4 hour goes, you can see we are bearish. We have disrespected multiple 4 hour bullish fair value gaps. Have yet to respect a bearish one just because none have formed, except for this tiny little one right here that we didn't tap into. If you go to, and then you can see the prominent low that I want a little bit cleaner here now. If you go to the hourly, you'll see we're respecting an hourly bearish fair value gap. And again, just disrespecting bullish ones on the way. Another thing you'll notice is equal lows right here, which was my break-even point. However, so you see that alert here. I don't know if you can see alerts on my OBS. Yeah, you can. Break even SMT question mark. What that means is ES took the low. And the reason I already broke even was because ES is weaker than NQ, and I would be break even now. So the only difference is I would have broke even now off of the SMT. Maybe I get some luck. It would be unlucky now if this happened because I'm already out, but maybe if I stayed in, I would have gotten some luck and we wouldn't have retraced back to my entry after the SMT here. I find that hard to believe. We're on pace to do so right now. So we'll see, but that we were just so close to my entry and we were about to take the SMT that I said, fuck it, just get me out. My break even, it didn't make sense anymore for the trade. It was so, because I was using the SMT here for my break even, my break even was technically so close to entry on NQ that it just didn't make sense to be in the trade any longer, in my opinion. Of course, there's a slight margin where we could remain in the trade if I stayed and waited for this alert. I got out prematurely just because I felt like there was no fucking way that we take these lows, I break even, and price is trading here and we don't tap, I break even. There's a world where we haven't yet, so we'll see. But yeah, equal lows was my break even, and I was targeting the prominent low that I've already pointed out here. So it was a bit of a far away draw, you could argue. I wouldn't say so. It's not even 100 points. It just looks that way for some reason, probably because we're ranging. But yeah, equal lows. Oh, it's just a ton of low resistance liquidity here, and I would not be surprised if we continue lower. But for my break even to be the SMT, which I thought was valid, it just didn't make sense to stay in the trade, in my opinion, because we're most likely going to break even here, like I said. If you go to the 5-minute, you'll see this is where I entered, respecting bearish PD arrays, disrespecting bullish ones, inversed both of these fair value gaps, and once we did so, I entered with a limit. The reason I entered with a limit, I've been entering with markets more often, and also I've only really been entering with markets when I backtest. The reason I did a limit here was because it had to be a limit for it to be a one-to-one risk reward. So I entered with a limit, and then after that, you can see we just chopped around. I was just waiting patiently for the SMT to form here. We took the lows on ES. It looks like we would have hit my break even regardless. We'll see. It's still holding on like a champ, to be fair. But yeah, that was the trade. I mean, it looks really nice. I just, with the SMT there, I had to break even just in case. I don't want it to reverse with the SMT. And do I think it will reverse with the SMT? No, not necessarily. Do I think there's a good chance we continue to chop around for a bit before we go lower? Yes. But my bias, there we go, I would have broke even. My bias is still break even. or my bias is still bearish. How the fuck can we leave these equal lows here? I know we took them on ES, I know, but I don't think that SMT is really going to carry us all the way up. Do I really think that? No. Am I going to break even because that's a possibility? Yes. I just wish that the SMT gave me a little bit more breathing room in my trade here on Nasdaq. It just didn't. But yeah, that was the trade. Inverse. Using a 5-minute continuation off of a sweep. Obviously, the continuation, we filled almost the entire range to get to this 5-minute continuation, which I didn't love because then, you know, that's a lot of times indicative of like rangy price action, right? Like we're doing these V shape or W, whatever the fuck you want to call it, price action, which I don't really fuck with. But yeah, that was the trade. I only took it on my combine accounts. I'm going to lay off my funded account that I have right now, and just focus on combines, especially given the time of year. It's not usually indicative of the best price action. But yeah, you can see the reaction we're having so far off of the SMT. Like if I wasn't looking at ES and I was just looking at NQ, I'd be pretty pissed off right now. Like, what are we doing, right? And I wouldn't realize that there is now a possibility we don't come for these lows because we took them on ES. And I'd just be thinking in my head, oh, well, there's no fucking way we go higher without taking these lows. There's just no way. And I'd still be in the trade, and you know, maybe it would have played in my favor. We'll see. I don't know what price has in store in the near future here. But there is also a chance that it would have fucked me. So I'm happy that I had ES pulled up and I'm looking at it and I'm using SMTs to my benefit. And we'll see what happens. But that was the trade. So